I love history. So when I was younger, I always was like jealous of people that were born a couple hundred years ago or even 1,000 years ago, just because those times were so crazy when you read about history, especially thousands of years ago. You had the Knights Templars and all these crazy organizations, and time must have been crazy. It must have been insane back then. You know, the Knights Templars went around the world forcing people to believe in Jesus, forcing them, the whole world. And if you didn't, they would end your life, steal your land, take all your assets. That's how it went. But what's interesting is the more you learn about history, the more you can start to see it repeat itself. And like I said, I used to be so jealous of, just decades ago, people that lived even, like I said, 1,000 years ago. But now that I've done so much research, I realize times today, 2025, far more interesting. Crazy interesting. They're still doing the same thing. If you go against the Vatican and the Roman Catholic Church, they will end you. What will they do? How will they end you? Well, that probably depends on how loud your voice gets. But they will take your content off the internet. They will demonetize you, which is making it so that you are not able to make any money. That's basically killing your way to make money, which is essentially you're not able to put food on your table now. That's killing. I mean, it's the same thing. Use your head a little bit. Start to think about it. It's the same thing they've been doing for thousands of years. They're just doing it in a different way now. Instead of, taking out an actual person, which, let's face it, that still happens. But in most cases, if they don't need to, they'll just erase your account, take your account down, and then you're gone. It's the same thing. If you're not able to make money on the internet, you're not able to provide to for your family doing what you do, then it's the same thing, essentially. All right, so I find it fascinating. We live in the ancient Roman Empire. There is no such thing as Democrat or Republican. It's all the same thing. That's why they use the eagle as a symbol. Eagle is a very ancient symbol. The Romans used it as a symbol because one bird, two wings. Just because they have two wings, it's flapping and doing the same thing for that one animal. It doesn't matter. It's not two separate entities. It's all one thing, which is why America adopted that symbolism. All of the symbolism we have is from the ancient world. Look at the fasci behind the Senate. All right, fasci stands for fascism, the bundle of sticks with a hatchet head. That stands for fascism. What is fascism? Same thing as communism or Marxism or Leninism. It's all the same thing. Socialism. That is what we have been placed into, a system based on maritime admiralty law, which is based on the water. That's why all of the terminology for water and banking is fluid and liquid. It all has to do with water because, like I said, it's maritime admiralty laws. All right. The word bench in Latin means bank. All right. Why do you think that? When you go to court, you sit on the bench. That's the first thing you do. You sit on the bench. That bench is called bank. Why? Because where do you find a bank? You find it on the sides of a river. What's in a river? A current's in a river. What is currency? Currency is money, but why is currency also in water? All right. How come when you are struggling in court, you have to bail out? That's an aquatic term. It's a boat term. You're bailing out. All right. When you walk through the very first gate to go into the courtroom to speak to the judge, into that little area, that's called a water gate. Why do you walk through a water gate? Because you're in deep. You're in over your head, and you're going to end up in a cell. Why in a cell? Because a battery has a cell. Batteries are also, we are also probably batteries in a sense, because water is a conductor of electricity. We are a major percent of water. We're all based on water. So when you start to understand all these words and terms have a meaning, it's not just by chance. Everything is connected. And it's been like this now for thousands of years. The ancient people figured this stuff out. We're talking about the ancient Babylonians. They figured this stuff out. And the world is run by secret societies, secret organizations, things like the Masons, but different versions and different varieties. And it's like gangs almost, all right? You got the Bloods, you got the Crips, you got the Latin Kings, you got, you know, all I forget what the hell they're called. The Dominican one, Tres something, I don't freaking know. But anyhow, you know what I'm trying to say. They're like gangs, they're different factions, and they're fighting each other for power and control over what? Over us, over our mind. I have reason to believe, and this is my opinion, but I have reason to believe, and Jordan Maxwell said the same thing. Donut Factory, really smart, great symbolism expert, said the same thing. But I believe Donald Trump he's a Knights Templar, man. He's a Knights of Malta. All right, rewatch the movie Godfather 3, and you'll see Michael Corleone becomes a Knights of Malta. If you don't know what the Knights of Malta are, look them up. All right, they're connected to the Jesuits. If you don't know what the Jesuits are, it's important to learn this stuff. It is a secret order. It's a Catholic order. They're like Catholic Freemasons, and they are very powerful. The Pope right now is a Jesuit Pope for the first time in history. The Pope, the papacy, the whole thing is being run by a Jesuit. They are secret society members. Please, for the love of God, learn this stuff. I told my aunt that I don't believe in space and all that, and it's funny because I said I don't believe that astronauts are stuck up there right now. They're all Freemasons. They're all bound by blood, man. They can't lie. They tell oaths. They say their secret oaths. They sign PDAs, all that stuff. And she goes, what do you mean? What's that? What's a Freemason? I said, well, your generation is not going to get this. She's like in her 80s. I said, it's okay. It is what it is. But I was trying to explain it to her, and she's, oh, no way. That couldn't happen. How could they be members of a group? Like, dude, what are you talking about? What do you mean? They all go to the same colleges. They all know each other. They're all brought into the family through marriage, through having children with each other. Why do you think half of Hollywood bangs each other? Everyone is trying. That's what it is, man. They're keeping everything in their little circle. All right, their elite circle, through blood, okay, through marriage, through all of it, through oaths. That's how it works. But most people, when they start, hearing that, they start rolling their eyes and they can't handle it. But it is what it is. This is my opinion. If you want to learn more, I teach classes. I teach how to read the Bible properly, because your pastor is lying to you. The book is about the end of an age, not the end of the world. Learn. The word for age, the word in the Bible, the original text was eon. All right, the end of the aeon. That was the word. The aeon means age, and it has to do with the sun going through the zodiac signs. It has nothing to do with what's happening down here, like the end of the world, all this giant. That's not what it's about, man. And maybe it's connected. Maybe when it changes, when the sun officially changes, something does happen down on Earth that coincides with that. However, I believe they're playing us like a fiddle. And it's going to be all-out war soon, man. And by that, I mean mental war. Mental war. You got to understand, when people say, do you think they'll bring a World War III to America? No. No, I don't. Why do I think that? If they did, it would be very isolated. Why do I think that? Because this country is important. It's that simple. It's important. They're not gonna do that much damage to it. They're not gonna destroy infrastructure unless it needs to be destroyed. But in that case, they'll figure out a way to get it done. They'll make us do it, believe it or not, I'm sure, somehow, one way or another. But you gotta understand, they're not gonna destroy their baby. This is their baby, America. All right? So this is why the wars stay where the wars stay, all right? They've been warring in the Middle East now for thousands of years. We left that whole area to get away from that, to start something new, so that we could essentially, and I'm speaking about like for them right now, but so they could essentially turn us into willing slaves, which they've done. But one thing you don't do to your willing slaves that are working their lives away to pay you, because that's what taxes are. What do you think that is? You know, all the taxes we pay millions and millions of dollars in taxes throughout our life. We're the ones that have value. The working American people that have social security numbers and a birth certificate, because that's how money is created. Money is a belief system. It has no ties to anything except to us. All right, so they're not going to destroy. I just don't think they would. I don't think they would bring a fight to America in that sense. I don't think they would destroy America willingly. I really don't. And it's all planned. Everything is planned. You got to understand, wars are planned. Wars are paid for. By the same people that pay for the war. They pay for both sides. It's a scam. It's all about money. All right, please start to wake up. Learn who funded World War I, who funded World War II. These are names like the Rothsteins and the Rockefellers. You know, you got to understand these are sick families, sick bloodlines that will do anything for money and power because they're sick. This is my opinion, though. That's all. I love you all. If you want to learn more, go to my website, please. You know, there's no reason to take this video down. It's my opinion. It's a conspiracy. You don't have to listen to me. Check out my website, though. If you can become a member, please become a member. Help me. I'm banned everywhere. I'm not allowed to make money on the internet. I'm not allowed to monetize. So I'm on my way to work right now. I'm a recovery coach, 60 hours a week. And I do these videos for free to help wake people up. Because I think that's very important right now. Life is too damn short. I just had an uncle die of pancreatic cancer, young, too short. Another one of my uncles just got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, young, too short. Of a 13-year-old cousin that just got diagnosed with cancer, swear to God, too short life. So stop wasting it. Start learning. I love you all. My opinion.